All right. I'd like to call this Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors regular meeting to order. Today is April 24th, 2018. Time is 6:01. We do have a quorum. All members are present. Certification of public notice, Mr. Trevino?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this was posted in regards to all Open Meetings Act.
Okay, we do, let me conduct a roll call. We do have myself, Gilbert Enriquez. We have the Mayor Molina. We have Mr. Farias. We have Councilman Salinas, and we have Councilman Torres in attendance. Item number 3, consider approval of Board of Directors minutes for the March 10th, 2018, March 27th, 2018, and March 28th, 2018 board meetings. Do I have a motion?
To approve. Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Torres, second by Councilman Salinas. Any discussion? There's one item that I wanted to bring up. It was regarding I didn't write it down. I usually write it down, but I didn't here. It had to do with reconvening the executive session, and hold on, I'll find it. Bear with me. Motion, okay, no action was taken, executive session carried. Okay. I can't find, I didn't mark it down, but it had to do with entering into executive session and coming out of executive session.
Which meeting was it?
It was the second meeting, which is the March 27th meeting.
Okay.
So it's regarding the entering into executive session and re-entering. I think it was just a typo on the
Okay.
coming into executive session.
Yes, Myram, yeah.
Item 5. Right. Okay.
Okay, we'll make those.
So that's the only correction that we needed. Okay. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 4. Discuss and consider ratifying the following transfers of funds to restore the required balance of the debt service reserve fund for the Santana Manufacturing Project Refinancing Series 2015 bond at Greater State Bank. Mr. Trevino.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as you recall, last month's meeting, we had the issue of the debt reserve fund being spent prior to this administration, and we had presentations from bond counsel and our financial advisors advising us to replenish that reserve fund, and this is the action that was taken that day. I just wanted to ratify, have the board ratify the actions, and the $874,459.81 were taken from the Lone Star National Bank, and then the $467,230 out of Texas National Bank. They were we deposited that into the debt service reserve fund.
Okay. We have a motion?
Make a motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Farias.
Second.
Second by Councilman Salinas. Any discussion?
I got some questions.
Sure. Mayor?
Really quick, when you're talking about these large amounts of money, I just want to make sure that everybody here is on the right track, and I know that people are joining us in the middle of the movie, but what I'm trying to do is go back to part one where we at the last meeting and kind of elaborate what we have here. So basically, I just want a little discussion just to verify and that, so that we're open. This amount of money has to, by an agreement that we have in writing, that this money must be earmarked to cover some debt service here, correct?
Correct. It's a reserve fund that's by bond. The issuance of the bond has to be in that account all the time.
For the duration of
For
the
the
bond?
duration of the
For
bond.
the duration of the bond. And just to verify, this money was not in there previously.
It was there, and then for some reason, the previous director had, indicated that there was a late payment from the Santana bond, and they hadn't made their payment, and so the director felt that they had to pay the bond payment out of this fund, which was not the right way to do this.
I'm going to ask, Mr. Chairman, that our attorney, Mr. Vela, investigate this more thoroughly to find out the facts and to give us something in writing in chronological order, to find out if this was done intentionally or if it was, I guess somebody referred to as some type of oversight.
And I'd just like for clarification, out of the, that particular reserve that we had was $1.3 million and change, correct?
That's correct.
To what amount was it depleted to?
I believe there was maybe 1.2, no.
121.
124.
124? 124,000.
Yeah.
So,
That was left over, that was in the balance.
okay.
So basically, $1.3 million was deducted from this reserve account to pay for the Santana expenses, the debt service. So my only thought process as an accountant, that they were trying to show a lot of working capital, cash on hand, so they would remove it from the debt service, so they wouldn't see that their cash reserves were being depleted. So that's the only thing I could see that was happening, because there was no reason to remove that money from the reserve, especially if it was part of the bond issuance, and you had to have certain criteria being met in order to reduce that bond reserve fund. So now that the mayor's given direction to our council, hopefully we can have some concrete facts on why the money was withdrawn from the account, from the reserve fund.
Good.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 5, discussion, consider possible action of the EEDC fiscal year 2017-2018 budget. Mr. Trevino.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, attached you'll find a spreadsheet that we developed based on the approved budget that was done in October and then amended when the new board came on board, I would say back in January. And then we have if you look on the columns, an amended budget as of today. And then the last column is the actual expenditures to date. I wanted to explain some of the line items, and if you had questions on the specific line items, I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. But as far as on the expenditures, on the operating expense, of course, we did personnel expenses last month, and we originally approved budget at 641. Then we did some amendments last meet, and our budget would be like 379, so we cut that amount from the original budget. So in actual year-to-date, we're at 221. Again, there's going to be some decreases as we go from the next 6 months on to October, and we'll start the new budget cycle at that time also.
So we reduced the personnel expense by almost half.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. As far as down at the marketing expenses, what I did, we've had the marketing activities and sponsorships. I had them all listed of what was approved in the original budget. I believe there was $470,000 total, and when the new budget, amended budget came in, this board brought it down, or the previous board brought it down to $300,000. But I just had the list of items that was approved or had been paid up to date as far as marketing expenses, so that the board understands what was being spent at that time. And I hope it's clear. If you have any questions about that, but just for instance, the Edinburgh Chamber Public Affairs Lunch, we sponsored that. We paid that. It's $250. The Fire Department Festival, just the kind of routine things that we paid.
Right.
But I just wanted to be open so that you
So for
knew.
this coming year, in our next budget year, you're gonna itemize this, you're gonna cut
Correct.
the fat wherever we
Correct.
can?
Yes.
Okay.
And I just
All
wanted
right.
you to be aware of where the money was going in the past. Some of the advertising, some ads that we put in various periodicals, some ads in billboards. There were some videos that were animated videos that were paid for. Different Facebook ads, you name it, you can see it here.
Okay, but you're gonna review that and go through that and cut
Correct.
the fat
Correct.
for our next budget?
Correct, and right now,
Okay.
the last budget was approved for 300, from 470, went down to 300. Year-to-date, we're at 158.
Okay.
And you'll see what there's ongoing and what has been paid and what is still pending.
So we shouldn't get close to that 300,000 by the
I'm
end
gonna
of the
do
year?
my best to make
Yeah.
sure we don't.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
If you look on down the low, we're adding the small business incentive group that we'll be finalizing today. I have it at $120,000. It's up to the board if you want to keep that, or we can increase that based on the activity. And then also, as you go on down the line, we have the infrastructure program and engineering line item, and that's all the incentive agreements that were approved prior and that are either pending and ongoing or paid. And like I did the other one, I just broke down all the projects by name and the amounts that were either are pending by the agreements that were signed.
Right, but this was based off on...
The previous board.
Right.
Previous budget year.
In October.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so some of these agreements didn't meet their obligations, so we might not be
Correct.
obligated to pay that amount.
There's language in the agreements that they have to finish within a year and have so many employees. So we'll continue to monitor those specific projects.
Okay. Yeah, that's very important that we monitor them and make sure that they meet their obligations.
Yes, sir.
Per the contract. Okay. One of the things I want to let the audience know and also the council is going back to the revenue side, up at the top, just for clarification, the lease payments are all the building rentals that we have, all the buildings that we lease out to individuals. That's the receivables that we have for the year, $230,000. The hot receivable is something that, Mr. Trevino, I would like you to elaborate on, because that I think is very important that this board knows, because that $200,000 might not be something that we receive. So, you want to elaborate a little
Okay.
bit?
I'm
Well,
still trying.
Either that or
I'll do my best to.
Nelda can come up and elaborate on it. That would be okay too. Nelda, you want to come up to the podium?
Good
Hi.
evening. Hi there.
Hi.
We have the interlocal drafted with the city for the soccer practice fields.
Okay,
It was never executed because part of the reimbursement by the city to the EEDC involved the hotel occupancy tax. And legislation was just passed last year to allow cities to use that hot tax for these types of projects. And so the agreement was pending that legislation be approved, and so we need to finalize that contract. Now, even though the contract wasn't finalized, the city did pay us the first payment under that draft agreement, which was about $337,500. That was a payment that the city used I think their general revenue fund, and the remainder of that I think it was 1.4 million was to be paid through the hot tax.
And
the
that
city
was
receives.
paid last fiscal year, is that correct?
I think it was in October 2016.
2016, okay. And basically, this was an agreement that the city and the EDC came together to build with the Cantu Construction to build the soccer fields. At
the
a
practice fields.
1.350.
But this is the practice field, not the actual.
Correct.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is the
Not
practice.
H-E-B Park.
This is, right, this is the practice field that's on our property.
City property.
At the Memorial Park.
Right.
Municipal park.
Or municipal park,
Municipal
municipal park. Okay.
So there was development agreements based on that, in which, again, she said the city did pay in October their portion, but it was never ratified on the development agreement.
Right, but there is a risk that we won't receive that $200,000. So I just want to make everyone aware that that $200,000 isn't a guaranteed receivable at this point, in my eyes, because of the fact that there's still some legislation that needs to be,
Well, it
or
was
it has
passed,
been
but we
passed.
need- We need the agreement.
And
So we need the
approved.
agreement to
Between the city
be
and the-
executed, basically, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's something that we're definitely going to have to discuss with the city manager and figure out how that $200,000 receivable payment will be paid. So,
And it's not just the 200,000, so it's.
The remainder.
The
it's
whole remainder.
future payments.
Yeah, it's the whole remainder of, 1.4 million, yeah.
Okay. And we don't get any, the city doesn't get any revenue from that practice facility, right?
No, it's city property, so.
Right.
Okay. But I mean, there's not a rent agreement with the Toros to use it?
No.
No? Okay.
And no property tax?
Well, the city
No,
doesn't
it's
have
ours.
It's
property
city
tax.
property.
I think
Well, it's
the-
ours, but I don't know if we have access to it, but it's ours.
Right.
The city uses it. I believe they do.
What, say that? I'm
I
sorry?
believe the city uses the soccer park, don't they?
I don't think so, but, I don't think so, but we
They're
can
supposed
definitely,
to.
yeah, we definitely can find out if we do or we don't.
Yeah,
That-
but there's no concession stand where they would receive revenue, as I understand.
Okay.
Ms. Nelda, I have a question for you. You're probably the only one that was here out of everybody that's on the board. Do you recall if it was 1.3 million? Was there a couple of change orders that took place?
Yeah. We have a copy. I think Jerry
Yeah.
has a copy of the actual.
Yes, sir, Mayor, I got a copy here, I've just been going over there. There was the First Amendment construction contract change order. So I'm still going through it. It's 1.3
1.3 million was
Total.
the original, right?
original, so another 127,
And then they did a change order for what?
127,
$127,000? Okay.
yes.
And then they did another change order?
This is the only one I have in front of me right now, Mayor. We'll have to do a little bit more investigation on this.
I think what I recall is it
This
was closer to $2 million once they were done, so there was several change orders that took place. Could you please bring us that number next time, Mr. Trevino?
Yes, sir.
I think it was 1.7 at the end,
1.7.
1.7?
about 1.7.
Okay, the other item that I'd like to advise the board on the notes receivable, that is Santana Textile. Those are their payments to us for the $15 million bond issue. It comes out, their yearly payment would be $1.2 million, and they've paid 379 as of March. So way under what they should be paying. So, Mr. Trevino, we need to also check that as well. I don't want to let this go on too
No,
much,
no, sir.
okay?
I agree.
Mr. President?
Yes.
So that's how far behind they are, even though we did even though the previous board did the restructuring of the loan?
Well, that's how much they're behind.
They're behind
this year,
this year.
right? Because for the year, we should be collecting 1.2
1.2, so
million, and we've
about
only
900,000.
collected 380,000.
It also goes back to, Mr. President, they started their payments on the new agreement in November
In
instead
November.
of October. And so some of those payments also are not included in that for October, the two payments that they would have paid. But that interest and principal went back to the original loan balance. So it's included in there, but we did not receive a payment in October because it didn't start until November.
Okay. Just to let the board know that we are doing an amortization schedule of all the payments that have been, that are required, and a accounting of all the payments that have been paid. So hopefully by the next board meeting, we should have an update on that.
Good,
Okay?
thank you.
All right, thank you. Also, well, no, that's it. Any other questions?
There was some projections for lobbyists, different consultants that were on here.
The first meeting that we had, we did away with all those, so there's zero balances. There is no lobbying
Well,
for this budget.
Do you remember what
Except
that?
for,
do you
except for
remember-
the one payment that was made for November.
Correct.
Do you remember
November.
what that was?
It was
What was
45.
cut in the budget, do you remember?
Oh, it was a lot. We cut a lot.
About 650,000.
No, he's talking about just that
The
one line
original.
item, the
Oh.
lobbyist. I think it was about 200 and some thousand?
What was approved in October is 168.
Okay, 168.
$999.
So it was about 130 that we deduct. Where'd you see that
In the
168?
contractual services.
Oh, okay, right here. Yeah, 168, and we had to pay 45,000 for November. So basically, we were able to cut about $120,000. $120,000 from that.
But when we initially started this, we cut
Yeah, the
over
total.
600,000
Yeah, over
total.
600,000, correct. Correct. So I just want to point out that we are in the black, the surplus. If we receive all our revenues as projected, 6.987, our expenditures for the year projected is 6,711,000. So we do have about $270,000 in surplus. So just FYI. It's always good to be in the black.
Well, you're gonna have a lot more than that, Mr. Chair, because when you look at office expenses, just by bringing them over here, I know you kind of piggyback on what the city uses, so I know you'll go over this later, Joey, but
Yes, sir.
you got janitorial service, 7,000, utilities, 5,000. We save on that, office expenses, 35,000, office supplies, 25,000, that's 60,000 right there. I mean, you're gonna have a lot more, you'll be a lot more in the black once
Yeah, this is just projected, right?
once you go over this.
We'll start working on our budget in the next month, for October, so along with the city.
Right.
I
Yeah.
also want to commend you all, Mr. Chair and Vice Chair, and the other three previous board members, just in personnel expenses. You've cut the budget $262,884.50. So I wanted to commend you guys on a job well done there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't get a pat on the back very often, so
Maybe
that's
you'll
well
get, maybe you
received.
guys will get a pay raise or something for your service.
Okay, any other questions? All right, this was just for discussion. Do we need it for action? No?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just,
All right. So moving on to item number 6, we have discuss and consider adopting the small business renovation and improvements policy for the Edinburgh Economic Development Corporation. Mr. Trevino.
Mr. President and board members, last meeting, I rolled out the first draft of that project. You gave me direction as far as some of the things that you had concerns with on the incentive agreements, of not having a, franchised and big corporations coming to us and asking for, incentive of $10,000. So we made some of those changes on the grant limitations and requirements. The other thing was about the ownership of the property. If you're a leasee and you want to apply for this, we'll have to have a co-applicant, which would be the owner of the property, to come in and apply with this incentives for whatever they're going to be using the money for on the improvements. And we've been talking with city and code enforcement and getting them ready to help, with this program, as far as, working with these applicants to come in and make sure they do the project within the scope of, ordinances and building permit. So, I don't know if you have any other concerns or or any additions or deletions you'd like to see on this. We'd like to roll it out to, May. And again, in the previous item, we budgeted $120,000. So, if we get 10
I think
applicants.
we needed a motion for that then, because that wasn't included in our original budget. That's
Oh,
that's
you're
an
right.
ad.
You're
That's
right.
an ad.
That's right, you're right. So we have to
So
go
we
back.
need to go back to item number 5 and make a motion to approve the
Yeah, we
line item for the, Mr. Vella, we're able to go back to item number 5?
Yes, you took no action on it, you can recall an item.
Okay, so I'm going to recall item number 5, which included the small business program budget amount of $120,000 to be added to our budget for this year, for this fiscal year. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Torres.
Second.
A second by Councilman Salinas. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving back to item number 6. Are there any questions for Mr. Trevino on this item?
Yes, I want to take into consideration employees more than 10 employees. Really, there's some that are not up to that many employees. You're talking about the ones that have really stuck it out with maybe 5 employees. I want to really look at this on a case-by-case basis, board, simply because it says employees more than 10 employees. The question that I want to bring up is, let's say you have somebody that's right at 9 employees, but yet when we go back to their sales tax, they are consistent with being up to date with the city, school, county, state, and federal taxes. I don't want that to be a determining factor on why they're left out, simply because if they're right at maybe 9 or 8 employees, my thing is to make sure that they are up to date with taxes, and secondly, that they are paying sales tax and contributing to that base. So I'd really like to look at this particular line item, employees more than 10. I don't want to be able to cut off businesses that are right at the threshold of maybe 8, 9, maybe even 7. My thing is that they're consistent, up to date with their taxes, and that they have been consistently paying those taxes.
Well, we can always add also sales tax dollars, like if they contribute a percentage of sales tax, it could be an and/or from the employees as well, because you're not only
Right.
employing people, but you're also contributing to the sales tax base. I would think that you could incorporate and/or
Right.
a percentage of sales tax.
We can, even just take the 10 employees out and have the 5 full-time classified, and then come to the contribution of the sales tax, or one or the other.
Let me just say with that 5 full-time is a very stringent term, because you have a lot of these small and pop organizations that they employ part-timers, but they still contribute to the number of sales tax. So, I think that's a fine line there, and I would like to see that reviewed and looked into more,
Okay.
and be a little more broad, and not just say 5 full-time employees,
Okay.
or 10 total, 5 full-time. Because like I said, these small mom and pops, they usually hire part-timers but they still contribute the same amount of sales tax dollars into our city. So at least that's my,
Okay, so I guess we can
Comment.
omit employees more than 10, and 5 of which are qualified. We can omit that line?
and maybe add sales tax too.
Yeah, the city limits for at least 10 years and contributed local
We
sales
can
tax.
eliminate the employment requirement and just review on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, case by case.
Well,
And if we
but
can-
if you do that though, it's, I think, gonna open up a can of worms. If you
What's
just-
that?
If you do it on a case-by-case basis, I think you have to set some criteria to follow, because if not, I think
think-
you're gonna open it up to a
Can we
lot of,
base it on the total, maybe categorize it on the amount of sales tax, from, 0 to, 100,000, whatever, and then base it on that? So many employees?
Well, the thing is, with the 10 years, you're not gonna have too many that have, there's not too many businesses that survive in a day and age at 10 years and at paid sales tax. You're not talking about 100 businesses. And I wanna be specific, a Starlight Burger, a Hamburger King, Armando's Pizza, Beverly's Hardware. Those, you can probably name about 10 in the entire city that have hit the threshold of the 10 years and paid sales tax. Now, if you have a home health provider service, something like that, you don't pay sales tax. Those could be open for 20 years, they just don't contribute into the 5.3 million.
right, but there is nothing here that says about sales tax.
The only thing that it says is that they
city-
contributed to sales tax and they're up to
Contribute
date.
to, right.
They're up to date and they've paid to the comptroller their tax.
In other words, it wouldn't be a construction company that's open for 10 years because they don't pay sales tax.
Well, actually, you can pay sales tax. If it's a private project, you pay sales tax on the materials, so
Right.
yes, you do pay, so that's what I'm saying. We need to be, if we do it on a
That
case by
generate
case,
sales tax.
that
It's gotta
yes,
say
they generate sales
gener-
tax.
that generates sales tax. That's what you're meaning.
Okay. All right. We,
Not contributed, but that generates sales tax is the proper verbiage there. Okay.
so I think that needs to be reviewed a little bit more
And I'll-
before we roll it out.
I'll talk
in
to
May.
the comptroller's office and see, you know, how they determined that and some of the,
There you go. That would go a long way. The other thing that I would bring up, you said corporations, the big corporations. You have to also remember, there's a lot of small businesses that incorporate. So if you say corporations are not eligible, what size of corporation? Because there's a small corporation, there's large corporations. So I think we need to be specific on that, because there's a lot of small businesses that have incorporated, and if you just lump them all into corporations, then they're gonna be out, right? So that's something else that we need to review as well. We need more clarity on that, because you can always single out corporations that are, you know, if they make $30 million a year, you know, $40 million a year, that's the threshold for a corporation. So I would look into that as well.
okay.
Just want to add that the sales tax, that it be in the numbers or the realm that these businesses can operate in. So, you know, we need to look at, if we put a real substantial high amount, well, nobody's going to qualify. So the numbers we have to look at to make sure that they are putting in, you know, within reason with what they do.
I believe there's some formulas we can use as far as square footage of the building and what, you know,
What they
what,
do.
yeah,
how they
what they
contribute,
sell
what it
and
is.
what it can be.
Or I think you can also do it by industry. I think industry, like the restaurant industry, they have a study or a table that shows restaurant industry produces a percentage of sales tax, and construction produces another percentage of sales tax, and
And retail.
you know, retail produces another. So maybe using those numbers as a guide to incorporate those into this policy.
Okay.
But I don't want us to you know, roll it out too soon, and then we're gonna
Right, and then
make
we're
a
gonna
mess
get
of
it
it.
inundated.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
sir.
gonna make a mess out of it. And,
We'll have something for the next meeting, for sure.
okay,
You want it,
All
no
right.
action or table, or no?
no action. We'll take no action. Is that okay with everybody, and have them bring it to us next time?
Yes.
Okay. Any other suggestions or comments? All right. So item number 6, no action. Going to item number 7.
Wait a minute, just getting back to this one item. There's something in there where we get to, they have to be in business for 3 years. Okay, you got that. There will be an inspection that takes place, right? To make sure that the receipts match up to,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
It's all
Just making sure.
reimbursable.
Yeah.
just making sure, sorry. Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. All right, item number 7, discuss and consider approval of an Edinburgh EDC logo community contest. Mr. Trevino.
Yes, sir. With all the popularity and success of the new city logo, I would thought this would be appropriate to bring this up before the board and have an opportunity for the community to be involved in developing our new EDC logo. Attached, I brought in, you know, just kind of a write-up on a contest that's going to include, you know, people from all walks of life in the community, the school district, the schools, the colleges, you know, Director Farias, if he wants to bring a logo. But no, I think one thing was said that city workers or employees couldn't participate. But anyway, I think it'd be an opportunity for us to get the community involved in what we're doing here in the EDC. Started back in May, and then maybe in June have them bring in those logos and have a contest, and the winner would win $500 and sign over, and we'd have all the, you know, we'll pick a panel of judges and then see what you guys thought about this. Ideas?
I like to get the public involved and get their ideas. And it'd be nice to get different perspectives from different viewings of how they see this. And I think it's a great idea. especially the incentive of the $500. I'm sure we'll have quite a few participants. I just want to make sure that we do our best to throw it out there
Yes,
so everybody can know.
Correct.
And not just the ones that get on our website and look at it, but actually advertise it and push it out
Okay.
there.
Yeah, we probably have to extend the contest, and instead of starting in May, until we get all the advertising and social media out there and get this information out there. But
Are you gonna go to the schools too?
we would like to go to schools, to colleges, I mean, even, you know, the general public, individuals that that have an art degree or have a little creative ability.
The schools have art classes
Yeah.
that you can,
Yeah. And what I would think we would do, we would have a blind judging panel, in which, you know, no names or anything, and we can you know, y'all can name some judges, or y'all can be the judges, but have some type of creativity involved, and then some anonymity too also.
Okay.
any other discussion? We need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Farias, second by Councilman Salinas. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item approved. Item number 8, discuss and consider authorizing the executive director to seek requests for qualifications for architectural engineering services for the EEDC rotation list. Mr. Trevino.
Mr. President, board members, we've got some ongoing projects we'd like to start getting under design. One is the old EDC office, and looking into working some different alternatives of what we think should be out there. We're meeting tomorrow with the library director and some people from STC that might be interested in participating in this innovation center or resource center that you all would like to see out there. Other projects about the city, working with the city on some new indoor recreation facilities, and also parks, and some of these buildings that we have existing in the area that the EDC owns, and maybe get some ideas from different architects and engineers on costs for one thing, but have a rotation list so that way one engineer and one architect are not doing everything. So.
Okay. Any questions? No questions?
This will go out on the newspaper,
Yes, sir.
and then what else? Where else are we
We can
gonna
we
advertise?
can put it on the
Does it go
newspaper.
online too, or?
We put it on our website, city websites, everything.
We can send out to our vendors.
How long will the advertisement go on?
It's usually 2 weeks,
It's
2 to
usually
3 weeks.
2 weeks, and then get the RFQs in and scored and reviewed, and then present it to the board on shortlisting. So it could be as soon as next meeting or the following meeting out there.
You know,
This is a new approach.
Yes.
Right, Mr. President, where it's a little bit more where the EDC could just appoint or go forth, but we're being
Yeah.
transparent.
Yes,
and
sir.
giving
Being
people a fair shot.
That's correct. We're being transparent. That's what we said that we were gonna do. We're gonna give everybody an opportunity. We're gonna get the best price, the best qualifications. Like you said, Mr. Torres, Councilman Torres, that, actually the EDC can, hire a professional service without any RFQs. But, I think it's the philosophy of this board and the council that we go out for bid and we be as transparent as possible. So I want to make sure that the public realize that, understands that. Any other questions? All right, do I have a motion?
motion to go out
to seek RFQs for architectural and engineering.
I have a motion by Mr. Molina. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Farias. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 9, discussion regarding Memorial Park. No, let's do this one because it's going to take a little bit.
Okay.
The last item. Discussion regarding Memorial Park located at Sprague Street and US 281, Edinburgh, Texas. This item, I asked Mr. Trevino to put on. We have a park on Memorial Park off the Expressway 281 in Sprague, and we have two big baseball fields that are being utilized currently, and we have a lot of land that's really not being utilized efficiently. So one of the things that I brought up to Mr. Trevino was maybe trying to do a baseball field park, a sports park here for our community. And we had Mr. Manuel Hinojosa from Right Dog and Figueroa who did a little preliminary sketch at no charge to the EDC. And this is in your packet, there's a preliminary diagram of what he felt we could utilize in that space. It comes out to about 10 fields, and basically those fields each field is specific for an age group. I don't know if you've noticed that when we have our baseball fields, when we go from T-ball to like a coach pitch or a Bronco, we have to move the bases to the required distances. And so this would eliminate that, and this would have specific fields for specific age groups so they can constantly be used for that specific division. So this is just a preliminary. Mr. Hinojosa is here in case you all had some questions. He tried to keep all the trees that are there, because we do have some very, very nice trees there, and he tried to incorporate the new fields into the existing terrain. Also, you have, of course, that I guess, what do you call that, meeting area and those pavilions that we would probably do a little facelift on, have some restrooms there, really make it into a sports complex and a park with the trail for our citizens as well. That park is utilized a lot by our constituents. So I think this is something that we could possibly entertain if the monies are there, the monies are available. So I just brought it up for discussion and see what you all thought. And it's perfect right off the expressway. We could hold a lot of tournaments here, 10
What are the
fields.
parks on Freddy Gonzalez? What age are those that are,
The parks
the
on
ones
which one?
on, what is it, Sugar, Jackson?
Oh, those are
The
softball.
skate park? Yeah.
Yeah, those are softball.
Which one, so it's none of these age
No,
groups that are here?
Well, softball could be played on the the T-ball, the Shetland, and I think it's Pinto. Those can be all utilized, softball and baseball. So the girls and the boys could utilize those fields, which would be these eight fields that are there. The two big fields that are right off the
That are already there?
that are already there. We'll make them a little smaller, but they'll be able to use for Bronco, Mustang, and Pony. And then, of course, the girls have their softball fields over there by the skateboard park that they use, which are is it 2 fields or 3 fields?
There's 3 out there.
There's 3?
Yeah,
3 fields there for softball, and only softball is used
but the girls could also use these.
for the Little League, for the
T-ball and
T-ball,
stuff like that.
right,
Okay.
right. Because over there at the Bicentennial Park,
There you go.
they use it for the Bronco, the Bronco, Mustang, and Pony. Well, I don't know if they call it that anymore. That's That's when I was
Yeah,
coaching.
no,
I don't
that's the terminology I remember too.
know. Yeah, I know, right?
I like it. I think it's good.
On this particular park, these fields would be taking the basketball court out?
No, it's still there.
It's still there? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
'Cause I
It
know
would
they
be
go-
relocated. It
It'll
would
be
be
relocated?
relocated.
Maybe we
Okay.
could put 2 courts.
It'd be
Yeah,
great
you
if we
could
put
probably
two.
put
Yeah,
2
you know,
courts,
side
right?
by side.
Because that would be nice, because there's a lot of pickup games there still.
Oh, yeah.
And they're always playing there, and the kids,
I used to
And-
play there, yeah,
and it'd
before
be
I became
good.
old.
It'd be good if maybe we could add another basketball with some nice lights or something out there too.
All these fields would have lights and bleachers and
Yes.
everything, full and amenities.
Very
So they
nice.
could be utilized at night, during the day. We just don't have enough fields for the number of teams that we have.
And that's a city property there that's not being used that we would put for parking, in that corner right
No,
here?
that would be something that we would have to look into.
Okay,
There's enough parking right now along the current park, but I don't think it'd be enough once all these fields are done and everybody's there playing at once. You know, we're gonna definitely need more parking.
okay.
I like the fact that Sprague connects to the municipal park. So when you do have tournaments, you know, they can all be utilized. Go to tournaments, you're moving from one field to another as you
Yeah.
go up to the bracket, you know, up or down, so
Right.
that does help as far as, you know, small kids, little kids and families going quick from one field to the other,
It's gonna help out grandparents when they got
grandparents.
kids or parents that have 4-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds. I remember
Maybe with
running
that, we
around.
could attract some bigger tournaments.
Yeah. And that was the idea, because this is right off the expressway.
Yeah.
I mean, easy access on and off.
Visibility too, it's
Right.
beautiful.
I mean, it would, I think it would be tremendous for our city.
It's good.
Mr. Hinojosa, did you want to say anything? Real quick, I'm only giving you a minute.
Okay, you got 1 minute. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Trevino. No, the only thing I want just to point out again is what Mr. Enriquez had mentioned, is that this is very conceptual without a survey and anything. It's just trying to see how what's the maximum use of this property. Currently, we're doing 12 fields in McAllen right now, and so it's really easy to come back in and try to utilize that information on something like this. And the ones we're doing are over there by Auburn and 29th. But what this shows is utilizing the 2 fields that are there. Like Mr. Enriquez said, probably reduce, if not, they fit the way they are right now, but they can be reduced. Not to touch the parks and the trees that are there, because I think that's something that has a lot of merit and needs to be in that location. And then situate these other fields that Mr. Enriquez mentioned. The parking, the extra parking, you've got about 200 parking spaces, really, and what we find is about 100 people per field. Is about so really you have 500 parking spaces. You could probably have a little bit more than you need, but still, you have a maximum. You've already used up the or put what really is required to have an operation like this. But I just wanted to point out those things. The whole idea here is to leave as many of the amenities that are present, so you don't have to be faced with spending any more money than you have to. But at the same time, you know, be able to put the fields in best use of that property.
All right, appreciate it. I like the design. I think just the conceptual part looks good. I think if we proceed with it, if we decide that this is a viable project, then we can definitely get into the details of it. Okay? Any other questions?
Nope.
All right. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramos. I appreciate you being here. Okay, yeah, do I have a motion to enter executive session? We're going to skip item number 10, and we'll do that after executive session.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Molina, second by Councilman Salinas. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're entering executive session at 6:55. Re-enter open session.
Motion.
Have a motion by Mr. Farias, a second by Mayor Molina. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. For the record, no action was taken on items discussed in executive session. Item number 10, Executive Director's Report.
The time we came back in?
Oh, I'm sorry. Time is 8:40. Item number 10, Executive Director's Report. Mr. Trevino.
I just wanted to touch base, and I think I lost all my paperwork here. We have the ICSC coming up in May, and then also June, and we sent you some invite, save the dates to the trip to Washington DC. I haven't received any replies from you guys, so if you're interested in going, maybe it's an opportunity so we can start making those arrangements.
I won't be going. I won't.
We can be flying.
I know you're flying, so I won't be attending. I don't fly.
So, and those are the announcements I wanted to make sure. Of course, our sales tax numbers are good. I don't know if you've
For the
seen the
month?
report for the last 2 months. I don't know
The
why.
last 2 months.
I think I've only been here 2 months, but everything's been really good the last 2 months.
Because everybody from Harlingen's coming over now. To
And the
eat
employment
hamburgers.
rate is the lowest.
And they're shopping Edinburgh.
Yeah, exactly. Our unemployment rate is really low, so, and the sales tax numbers are real positive, so real excited about that.
Are we tied at 4.9 with McAllen
Yep.
on unemployment?
Well, there's different numbers we've been looking at, so
Really?
I think we're ahead.
Oh, good.
Because there was a report by Texas Workforce Commission today. They did it at the McAllen Chamber yesterday, and one of the comments was the Workforce Commission, the Mayor Darling had asked, "How do we do?" He goes, "Oh, you got second to Edinburgh."
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So that's right now is all I have to report.
All right, thank you. Any discussions or comments? Okay. Going to item number 11, so no action on item 10. Going up to item 11, we have letter B, deliberate authorizing the executive director to enter into a development agreement with Aon Group LLC.
Motion to deny?
We have a motion by Councilman Salinas to deny the agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Farias. Any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Motion is denied.
Motion is denied, yes. Letter C, deliberate authorizing the executive director to enter into a development agreement with Badar Properties LLC. Do I have a motion? We have a motion by Councilman Torres on what are the terms?
The terms be 150,000 total, with 50,000 issued at when the certificate of occupancy is issued, and then 50,000 upon the first anniversary and 50,000 on the second anniversary of the issuance of the certificate of occupancy,
Okay,
Clawback,
with the 3-year clawback.
with the 3-year, okay. So we have a motion by Councilman Torres.
And those occupants, they're going to be businesses
this
that
is
generate
the walk-on.
This is the walk-on.
walk-ons. I apologize. Thank you.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Mayor Molina. Just Mr. Trevino, if you want to let the public know what this incentive package consists of, please.
Yes, sir. This is a new restaurant concept called Walk-Ons. It's a new franchise that's been will be the third one here, I think, in the state. San Antonio has two. It's one of the restaurants owned by Drew Brees of the New Orleans Saints. It's a casual, fast casual, I guess you want to say, sports type of restaurant, and it's going to be.
You want to give the square footage?
Yeah, I'm getting the square footage for you right now. Sorry, I lost my glasses here. It's going to be on 1.749 acres of land, and we'll have anticipated improvement of 1.2 million. The land is valued at 1.2 million also, with a total appraised value of 2.4 million, and with the estimated sales tax projections of sales projections of about $5 million, and we will have approximately $412,000 in sales tax for the state, $75,000 for city sales tax, and EDC sales tax of $25,000. Total tax revenue with ad valorem is $115,748 in my estimate.
That's per year.
Correct.
And this is based on sales tax projections and property value.
Property value, ad valorem taxes
Ad valorem
to the
tax.
city.
To the city, correct. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a comment. The motion's already passed. I just want everybody to know that this is very similar to what we're doing with basically giving incentives to those that have been loyal. This particular vendor here had Deer Properties. This is his third restaurant. And the other two restaurants that have been around for some time now, one on Trenton, one on University Drive. The one on Trenton Drive has some of the highest numbers in the entire Rio Grande Valley for sales taxes that are brought in here to the city. And so this is not the first restaurant, but this is the first time that this individual is getting an incentive, just for the record. It's not a first-timer. It's not to see whether him as a restaurant can get this system to work. He's got a history, and this is his third restaurant, so he's probably reaping the fruits of his labor, what he's done in the other two restaurants. Just wanted to comment on that.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Any other comments? Okay, item D, deliberate authorizing the executive director to enter into a development agreement with Aerial Investments LLC.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion by Mayor Molina. What are the terms?
You want to go over the terms, Council?
Yes, Mayor. The terms were $150,000 total. $50,000 would be paid upon the certificate of occupancy issued, and the lease of two of the spaces to two different occupants who pay sales tax. And the first two occupants must be within the building, and the building must be completed within 1 year of the execution of the agreement. Thereafter, $50,000 after the second two occupants are within the building, and $50,000 after the third two occupants are in the building. And again, those same restrictions, they must be businesses that are generating sales tax, with the maximum of $50,000 that would be paid to the developer per year. And there's also a 3-year clawback on any incentives that are paid if those businesses fail or move out or not, don't abide by the terms of the agreement.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Salinas. Any discussion?
Yes. Joey, can you elaborate on the total amount of investment with the numbers that you punched up?
Yes, Mayor. The proposed development is approximately 20,922 square feet. of retail space. The land is valued at 1.7 and improvements for 1.6 for a total appraised value of 3.3. Our estimate sales tax revenue and ad valorem tax will consist about 120,000 per year in revenue for the city and ad valorem and sales tax.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-1. Letter E, deliberate authorizing the executive director to enter into a development agreement with Payne Auto Group. Do we have a motion?
Motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny by Councilman Salinas,
Second.
second by Mayor Molina. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item denied. Letter F, deliberate authorizing the executive director to enter into a development agreement with Ocean Gate Investments. Do I have a motion?
To approve.
I have a motion by Councilman Torres,
Second.
second by Mayor Molina. You want to give out the
Yeah,
terms?
you want to elaborate on this, Counselor?
Yes, Mayor, the incentives would be $750,000 total, with $250,000 paid upon the issuance of the certificate of occupancy, and the building completion of the building and operation of the first hotel within 12 months of the execution of the agreement. Upon the completion of the second hotel and operation, there would be another $250,000 paid. That would have to be within 24 months of the execution of the agreement. And then the third installment of $750,000 would be paid on the 36-month anniversary of the execution of the agreement, so long as the first two provisions, which are the first hotel and the second hotel, are completed within the time frame. So it's a total of $250 per year, or $250 on the first hotel, $250 on the second, and then $250 on the third anniversary.
Joey, can you elaborate on your calculations?
Yes, sir. The proposal for the incentives for a True Hilton and a Hilton Home 2 Suites, each are valued at total appraised value at $4.9 million, with a total estimated tax revenue with hotel motel tax and ad valorem tax of $157,000 per year, and to be complete within that 3-year period.
Is that 157 for both of them, or 157 each?
It's 157, depending on the value of the property once it's appraised at the appraisal district. So I have, 157 for one and maybe 170, 150,
Okay.
170, in that range.
Okay, so annual is more like 325?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
About 425 each.
okay.
Okay, any further discussion? We have a motion and a second.
I'm sorry,
No, no.
at 157 each, 157, 160 each.
Each,
So,
okay, so
right,
300,000 annual.
300. Yes, sir.
That'll
Okay.
work. That makes sense.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Letter G. Do I have a motion?
Right, on that, Mr. President, we just need a motion to authorize the executive director to proceed as discussed and directed in executive session.
So move.
Have a motion by Mayor Molina,
Second.
second by Councilman Salinas. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do I have a motion for adjournment? Have a motion by Councilman Torres,
Second.
second Councilman Salinas. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Time is 8:55. Meeting adjourned.